Let's introduce today's panelists. For today's session, our panel consists of Angela Catahan, the Associate Registrar, Sylvie Burns, International Admissions Officer, Emil Mohammed Farhaf, International Student Advisor, Marley Hill, International Student Services Coordinator, Andrea Black, Financial Aid Officer, and Jonathan Cranston, Pathways Officer. We also have additional staff who are behind the scenes monitoring the Q&A, answering any questions submitted. So get ready for an exciting session all about getting started at Canadore. We're going to share all the essential information with you to get you off to a great start. If you have questions related to other areas outside of today's table talk, we will have more sessions and information available on the Canadore orientation webpage. And we will share a transcript of today's chat with everyone attending as well. So to keep things organized, we will be using the Q&A feature. Your questions will be answered and everyone can see them for added insight. If you want to be discreet, feel free to ask anonymously. And remember to please keep your questions and comments respectful and appropriate. As I mentioned, the session is being recorded and a copy of the chat transcript will be made available to everyone attending.
All right, then let's kick off this session by delving into some of the most frequently asked questions that international students have asked us about registration, funding opportunities, transfer credits, and so on over the years, as well as some of the questions that you have submitted when you registered for this session. We'll cover the key topics that you have been curious about. So after that, we'll turn our attention to the Q&A chat box and make sure to address any additional questions that you may have. So get ready to have your questions answered and make the most of this engaging and interactive session.
All right, so we will start off with a couple of questions about attestation letters. So Sylvie, we will start with you, lucky number one. So first off, what is an attestation letter and do I need one?
Good morning, everyone. The attestation letter is it's a document that's been put in place by the government. It's something that you will need if you have not applied for your visa before January 22nd, 2024. Also, sorry, just checking that you can all still hear me. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the attestation letter, if you have not submitted your visa application yet, or you've submitted it after January 22nd, you will need this document. Although Canadore does not create this document for you, Canadore will request the document on your behalf as soon as the province has the process in place is basically how it's going to work. We have to wait until the province gives us the go-ahead. But I promise you that the second that the province says, here's our process, this is how we're going to do it, everybody will start receiving attestation letters as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, information is limited. It's very new to everybody, and I apologize that the information I have is not, it's more than this. I wish I could give you more information, but unfortunately, it's a document that you're going to require if you did not apply for your visa before January 22nd. You'll be able to retrieve it though. Like once we receive the document for you, we will upload it to your application on OCAS under supporting documents.
The next question, Sylvie, and forgive me if you kind of answered it in your first question, but we'll kind of address it anyway. How does a student apply for an attestation letter? Do we have any information on that?
Yeah, so you don't need to apply for the letter. Canadore will know if you need one. So the most important thing is what you can do to help us is if you have applied for your visa prior to January 22nd, make sure to upload, or your agent uploads, what we call the visa submission letter. And that will say the date that your visa was submitted to IRCC. If we don't see that letter on your application, we know that you're going to need an attestation letter. So there's nothing that you need to do. Canadore will request the letter on your behalf.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sylvie.
Welcome.
We will give you a break for now, but we will come back to you later, Sylvie.
Okay.
We're going to move on to registration questions. So, Angela, we've got some questions for you now. I've already accepted my offer. Do I still need to register for classes? A bit of a two-parter here. So what is the difference between accepting my offer and registering for classes?
So, good morning, everyone. Accepting your offer actually just takes up a seat in the program that you received an offer for. Registration is the actual act of registering into the courses that are associated with that program. So you will be required to register for your classes, even though you have accepted your offer. So you can't just accept your offer, you do have to still register for classes. So
Okay.
that's the difference.
And when does registration begin? And part two of that, what if I'm having trouble during registration?
That's a good question. So an email did go out yesterday to all students that are in a position to register for the spring. Registration will open up on April the 3rd. There are details in that email of the time when your registration window will open. So, keep note of that date and time. And what was the second part? Sorry, Jill.
What if I'm unavailable to register at that time?
So the window will remain open till May the 10th, which is the 10-day count for most programs. The trades will close earlier than that. I think it's on May the 3rd. So that window will still remain open for you to register.
Okay. And so for the actual registration, how does a student register for classes? And is there support if they're having technical issues?
Yes, so students can register in self-service. There'll be a link in the email to self-service. There's also Zoom support that will be going on for a couple of days while registration is open. So the Zoom link is right in the email for students to join us, and we'll be there live to support them through the registration process. There's also a video link in the email that goes through the process of registration with visuals on how to do that. So there's all kinds of supports in place. There's also staff here in the office that can help students if they happen to be walking through the building. So Zoom, video, one-on-one, phone calls, emails, we're here to support that day. So
fantastic. That is awesome. Okay, student number. What is my student number and where will I find that?
So your student number is your unique identifier at Canadore College. It would have been given to you the minute that you applied to the college. So it will be on, for domestic students, it'll be on their acceptance letter. For international students, it'll be on their LOA.
Perfect. Okay, switching it up a little bit. Do I need to pay my full tuition before I can register for classes? And how do I know what I owe?
So yes, you will have to pay your full tuition before you can register for classes. During the process of registration, if you're not a sponsored student or you're not an OSAP student, a screen will come up during the process before you can pick your courses, letting you know how much is due, and you'll have to pay right on the spot to be able to go through and register for your classes.
Okay, fantastic. And on that note, how do I submit a payment?
Right on the website through self-service, you'll be able to, it'll prompt you and bring you to a payment page for you to pay.
Perfect. Sounds pretty straightforward, so that's good.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so on this topic, what do I need to complete a housing attestation before I register for classes? What if I don't have housing?
So if you don't have housing, you will be asked to attest that you do have housing during the process. And if you don't have housing secured, then you won't be able to go through and register until you do.
Okay. We've got just a few more for you, Ange. The next topic, though, is class schedule and program delivery. So we're switching it up a little bit.
Okay.
So next up, how and when do I get my class schedule, and do I choose my own schedule?
So you not really, yes and no. When you do go to register, there's a block of courses that you're required to register in. If there's a couple of different sections of those classes, then you can definitely have a look at the schedule when you click on the block of courses that you're registering for, and it'll show you a schedule. So you'll be able to see what the schedule will look like before you register in it. And, but you'll still have to register into those prescribed courses that are within that block all at once. And once you do select your block of courses in your schedule, then the next process is to submit that. And then once you submit it, you'll see your schedule. It'll be right there in self-service, and you'll be able to download it or print it or whatever way is best for you to keep that schedule.
Fantastic. So if I'm looking at my schedule, how can I tell if a class will be online or in person?
So if your class is online, there won't be a room associated with the course, but if there is a room associated, then it will be face to face.
Fantastic. And what does it mean if my program is hybrid? Do I still have to be on campus for that?
Yes, you do. That means that some of your courses will be online and some of them will be face to face. So you will be required to be in North Bay or whatever campus you're registering for.
And last one for you, can I change my program before the start of class?
You can change your program within the first 10 days.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. We will move on. Ziad has some questions for Sylvie again.
All right, thank you. Let's talk about visas, study permits. Sylvie, so here's a question for you. Do we need a visa approval letter for registration?
Actually, what you need to be able to register is your actual study permit. You'll receive your study permit once you arrive in Canada at the airport. Once they give you the study permit, either you or your agent will have to upload this document to your OCAS. You'll click on your offer, and then you'll click on study permit received. You'll upload your study permit. You can also upload your visa as well, but you will not be able to register until we see the actual study permit document.
All right. Next question. So what happens if there are visa delays? Who do I reach out to?
You don't necessarily need to reach out to anybody. If you have questions about your visa delay, you can surely email either International Admissions or the International Department if you have visa specific questions. We can put those two emails in the chat for you.
Thank you. And what should I do after I get my visa?
So once you receive the actual visa, you're going to go to OCAS, or your agent will go to OCAS. You'll upload your visa document. Under supporting documents, you'll click on visa, and you can either attach it as a document, or you can drag and drop it to the little box that will appear, and you'll hit save. And from there, you need to make your travel arrangements.
All right. So next question, where do we upload documents like PPR, LOA, and fee receipts?
Okay, so that's more for the Stanford students. So really the only thing that you need to upload if you're with the North Bay campus or Parry Sound campus, you'll need to upload your actual visa and your study permit. And you can either upload it under supporting documents, or you click on your offer and then it'll say visa received, and you can also attach your study permit.
All right, thank you. Now, if a student is waiting for the results of their visa application, if they can't attend in person, can they take the program online instead?
So unfortunately not. The reason being is, number one, we don't have online classes. Number two is that you can't register until you're here in Canada and you've received your study permit.
All right, thank you. Next question. Can I start my classes without having a study permit?
No, you won't be able to. Reason being is that you'll need your study permit before you can start classes.
One last question under the section of visas. if an international student gets permanent residency either before commencement or during the study period, can they be converted to a domestic student?
I'll defer this to Angela. I do believe so, as long as it's before the 10th day of class. Angela?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I was answering a question here. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no problem. So if an international student gets permanent residency either before commencement or during the study period, can they be converted to a domestic student?
As long as it's before registration, before the start of the semester, then we could consider it with all the valid documents to convert them to a domestic student. But we would have to have all the documentation before that and
All
before
right.
the start of the semester.
Okay, thanks. So it has to be before the start of the semester, before registration, basically.
Yes.
Thanks. So back to Sylvie for some more questions. It's about deferrals and campus changes. First question is, what is the last date for deferral?
The last day to defer is April 26th at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Campus changes are not permitted. The reason being is because the seats are full at the campuses, so it's impossible to put a student in a different campus if there's no seat available.
All right, thank you. And next question then, can I cancel a deferral request?
Typically, the answer is no. Once you defer, you cannot register, and vice versa. If you register, you can't defer. You'll have to reapply. If you've deferred and your visa comes in after the fact, what you can do is you can email international admissions. You can ask if a seat is still available, but you need to prepare yourself that the answer will likely be no, because your seat will have gone to the next person that's waiting to get an offer.
All right, thank you very much, Sylvie. That's all the questions for you. So now moving on to travel and arrival questions for Amil. So first question is, what is iSent and when are we supposed to use it?
Thank you, Ziad. Hi, everyone. So iSend is an app. It's a smartphone app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. So this is the app that we use to disseminate information relating to any events happening on campus, any student information. It can be used pre-arrival, during your travel, and throughout your time here on campus at Canadore College, and sometimes even after graduation, depending on the support that we are providing. So, for example, a session happening today, this particular session, if it's in person and it's happening on campus, we would be sending that information out on iSend, and you can have that information handy, just like any app that you would use today.
All right, thank you. Next question, what if there is a problem at immigration or while boarding a flight?
I hope that's not the case with you who are hearing this, but unfortunately, for some reason, if it does happen, I understand the situation can be very frustrating, but you will have to inform us, and so that we can try and assist as much as possible. When I say inform us, you can email us, and it can be international@canadorecollege.ca, and you can also add international.admissions@canadorecollege.ca so that we are aware of the situation.
Okay, thank you. Next question. What is the last date for international students to land in Canada?
Okay, as previously said here, the last day to register and to be here, and for registering, you will need your study permit. That means you're already here in Canada. So the last day for you to be here, we encourage the students to be here the first day of classes. But that being said, we have our in-person orientation on April 26th, and we ask students to come 2 weeks prior to the start of the classes so that you can here get settled and get to know the campus much better and get settled in, basically.
All right. Thanks for the reminder about the in-person orientation also on April 26th. Next question. What happens if you miss a lab or class due to travel delays?
Okay, that's a very good question. I do have these questions or students coming to my office much after the start of the classes, saying that they missed the classes because of travel delays or other things that were last minute. These things are supposed to happen, but please reach out to the program coordinators and your professors and let them know so that they are aware of your situation and they can work with you individually and to catch you up on classes or through so that you can be here successful in your academics. So missing a classes is not ideal, but again, it's not the end of the world. Please reach out to your professors and program coordinators so that they can work with you.
All right, thank you. Next question then. Will international students be picked up at the airport?
No, we do not pick up international students from the airport. That being said, we do have the we have a wonderful bus service, the Ontario Northland bus service. We do have flights coming in from Toronto to the Jack Garland Airport here at North Bay, and we also have the Northern Airport service, which runs every day. And it is North Bay is 4 hours away from any major port of entry, or sometimes 6 hours. So depending on where you are, you do have a wonderful connectivity to North Bay every day.
All right, thank you. And final question for you. How do we get a social insurance number as an international student?
Okay, social insurance number is very important for students here, especially for you to be here and be able to work and to file your taxes. That being said, it's a very important and a very confidential document, so treat it with as much confidentiality as possible. The SIN number, you do not need to get it on the first day you arrive, but it's a very important document. You do have like multiple options to reach out to Service Canada to get it. We do also have a Service Canada office at the Toronto Pearson Airport, which is available during the weekdays during working hours. If you're not coming in at one of those hours, we have a Service Canada office here in North Bay, and we also provide SIN clinics during the first weeks of classes on campus. So there are multiple options to get your SIN numbers. Please do not hurry in getting it and spend time at the airport or at Service Canada Center somewhere else. You can very well get it here in North Bay.
All right, thank you very much for answering all the questions.
Thank you.
So that's it from me. So back to Jill.
All right. Next up, we've got some questions for Marley on health insurance. So, hi, Marley. Our first question is health insurance mandatory for international students, and how do I pay for my health insurance?
Hi, Jill. That's a wonderful question. Thank you for asking. So at Canadore College, international students are required to have health insurance, but we benefit from this being included in our plan with GuardMe. This is a leading provider of health insurance services to international students. So our health insurance plan is mandatory, and it's included as part of international students' ancillary fees.
Fantastic. So, how does a student then get their health insurance card? How do they get their information?
For sure, yeah. So after 10 business days from the start of classes, you'll be able to access your health card. You'll receive an email from GuardMe with a link to your digital card with your policy number on it. And if you need medical help before this time, you can access medical services on your own. And then when you get your health card, you can submit a claim online to request reimbursement. When you're logged into your account, please try to remember that all that information is very private. And for the sake of confidentiality, that you're the only one that has access to your email and password and personal data. Within that email that you'll get from GuardMe after 10 days, you'll be able to activate your account and download your healthcare card. It's really important to open that email and click the link right when you receive it because those links can expire. So I highly recommend opening those right when you get them.
Definitely. So how does a student know when they're covered? Like, when does the coverage start?
For sure, yeah. So your GuardMe insurance policy will begin the first day of the month that you begin your studies. So for example, if you were to begin your studies in September, your policy would be active from September 1st. If you begin your studies in January, the policy would be active for January 1st. And there's a 14-day grace period on all mandatory student policies, which means if you arrive within 14 days before your policy start date and do experience a medical emergency, you would be covered under the terms and conditions of the policy.
Fantastic. What about travel? If I travel to another country, am I still covered?
That's a great question. So in order to be eligible for coverage with your GuardMe medical insurance, you must be traveling outside of your home country. Therefore, if you're in a country other than your home country, you may be eligible for those health insurance claims that occurred. You can try to think about GuardMe as travel medical insurance, and you are traveling here to study in Canada, so it's a great way to think of it.
Fantastic. So anywhere except for where you're from, basically.
Except your home country, yes, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Marley, last question. Can I apply for a family member to be covered?
Yes, you can. You can add a dependent to your GuardMe plan. Students can obtain this coverage for your spouse or children by enrolling them prior to a deadline and paying the appropriate fee to insure them. You can add a dependent after you receive your policy number in the Canadore International GuardMe portal.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next up, we've got a couple questions for financial aid. So for Andrea. So first off, is there financial aid available for international students?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yes, we do have scholarships and bursaries that international students can apply for. Our first round of awards open on May 1st and close August 31st. And selected recipients will be notified by email in October. All of this can be found on our website under the support link and pay for college. Our bursaries are geared towards financial needs. So you'll be asked to fill out an income form, all your income and all your expenses for the year. Our scholarships are awarded based on a combination of academic excellence and an overall contribution to the classroom. And each one is different. So we ask you to read each one carefully because you'll have to put in a blurb as to how you meet the criteria for that specific scholarship. We do have a discretionary bursary available, but we ask that you book an appointment with financial aid to discuss your situation.
Okay, so for the entrance awards, scholarships, and bursaries, you mentioned all that information is on the website. So how does application actually work? Is it all through the website as well?
Correct. The application is online.
Awesome. Okay, so next question. How can I budget my money for the school year so I don't run out? Do you have any budgeting tips?
Some of the tips we suggest is eating meals at home. Eating out can be very expensive. Bring your own coffee from home every day. Meal planning is always helpful. Buying no-name products instead of name brand products will save you money. Using your student card when you can. A lot of stores will give you a discount if you show your student card.
Okay, and last up, what is the best way for a student to contact financial aid office?
We have an email. I'll put it in the link. It's finaid@canadorecollege.ca. And of course, you can always check our website as we update it regularly. I'll put it in where am I putting it? The webinar chat, is that where I put it, Jill? Our email address, so students have it?
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Everybody
throw it
can
in there,
see
and
that?
if we need to adjust it, we can get one of our behind the scenes people to
Okay,
correct anything.
I will put it in there for any questions you may have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got a couple questions for you, Jonathan, last but definitely not least. So first up, these are, I guess our topic I should introduce is pathway questions, so credit transfers. So what is a credit transfer?
Excellent. Thanks, Jill. So I'm going to actually speak to both sides of that coin, what they are and what they're not. So first of all, what a credit transfer is it's a process by which we recognize and evaluate your prior post-secondary learning that you may have done at another institution before you come to Canadore. That may include learning you've done in your home country. It may include learning you've done provincially here before you come to Canadore. In any event, we look at your prior post-secondary education as it pertains to the program that you're studying to see if there's any course equivalencies and any opportunities to find exemption to reduce your overall course load. So it's focused on your academics. What it's not is a vehicle to change campuses. As Sylvie mentioned, I think it's probably worth mentioning again, and probably 100 times, is that there's no campus changes. It's just not going to happen. So a lot of students will go, I would like to transfer from Canadore North Bay to Canadore Scarborough, and that's not what credit transfer is, okay? So it's strictly focused on the prior learning you've done to see if there's an opportunity to get out of a course and reduce your course load. Usually the follow-up question to that is, if I drop a course, can I get a refund? And the answer to that is only if your enrollment status changes from a full-time student to a part-time student. So if you drop one course or perhaps even two courses, you may remain a full-time student and there's no refund. You obviously get out of one or two classes. There's the added bonus of the free time and all those other benefits that are non-financial, but there is no tuition refund for dropping a single course, or even if you maintain full-time status, there's no refund. So sorry, Jill, I know I kind of added a question to the question, but it all connects because I know that's usually the next follow-up question.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's great, Jonathan. Anything you want to add? You're the expert on the pathways, so definitely don't be shy on that. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you want me to address the other questions that you got?
Yeah, so on my list, what I've got next is, will my credits earned at a previous post-secondary institution transfer to Canadore? Like, how does that process work?
Excellent. So we have a process where we go through a review where documentation is supplied by the student, and then a subject matter expert reviews the course comparison that's going to happen. So if you perhaps did a communications course in your prior learning, and you now have a communications course as part of your new program at Canadore, you may look at the course learning outcomes of what you're going to do with us and say, these are very similar or exactly what I have done previously. So we have a process which you go through using an online application form and some supporting documents to have one of our subject matter experts review that and determine if there is indeed a connection. If there is and you're approved, then you're able to typically drop the class. If it's denied, well, then at least you know now you have to take it. But we do have a formal process. There's a lot of parts to it that aren't worth getting into at this point in time, but I am always here to support credit transfer. And I'm sure and it's already been shared in the chat, the essential links to get a hold of me or to find out more about credit transfer, because I know this will only apply to some learners. But for those that do, those links that are showing up in the chat now are great to follow through if you have follow-up questions or concerns.
Amazing. Two more questions for you.
Sure.
Well, a couple two-parters, so however you want to add that up. How and when can I apply for credit transfers?
Okay, so you can apply for them at any time. And I would strongly urge any students who are seriously thinking about credit transfer to consider doing all of your credit transfer applications at the same time. The reason being is I want to save you a little bit of money because you're going to need it for other things. So if I could save you some fees, I will try and do that. So what we do is we have it costs $25 to do one application or $50 to do two or more. So whether it's 2 or 5 or 8, $50 is the maximum we are going to charge you in a semester. However, those fees reset every semester. So if you've looked at the program you're about to take and you feel strongly that you're going to go after credit transfer for some of your semester 1 courses, oh, but I'm also going to go after semester 2 courses. Don't wait and do some in semester 1 and some in semester 2, because we're going to ding you twice on the fees. Instead, go after all of your credit transfers at the same time. And it's twofold. Number one, saves you money. And number two, you get a very definitive idea of exactly what you need to now finish to get the credential that you're going after. There's no guesswork. You're not going to get to second semester hoping you were going to get out of the class, only to find out that you can't, and then now you're crushed. And so it just really just lays it all out there and makes a really clear path for you to completion. So I would suggest that you apply as soon as you are able to, and the supporting documents, which is I got a feeling might be, and maybe Jill, I'll just jump to that next now because I know it's part of what I'm speaking about already, is what do I need to apply for credit transfer? It's about documentation. And I know that's your reality already with the other letters you have to get and all the other pieces of paper that you have to track down. Credit transfer, it similarly needs supporting documentation. So the big ones, official transcript. You cannot give me a transcript You can send me a transcript via email 100 times, and 101 times I will politely say, I will not accept this. We will only accept a transcript if it comes directly to us, as in Canadore, or myself personally as the Pathways Officer, from the prior institution. We will never take a transcript from a student. So if you've had one supplied to you, you may potentially be able to use that in other services or other situations, but for credit transfer, absolutely not. We need an official transcript, either that comes to us from the International OCAS side of things, or if it's been mailed directly, either electronically or digitally, by the prior institution. So the official transcript validates the grades. And then the other big one is the course outline. Not a course description, not a one paragraph in this course, this is what we do. We're talking the multiple page, shows all the learning outcomes, the marking scheme breakdown, the textbooks used, the whole shoot and match, because that's what our expert, to provide you a fair and honest review, we want to look at what was actually taught in the course you did. And the only fair way to do that is with a course outline. So once you have transcripts and outlines, you can apply, fill in the application form, and then it will be reviewed. But if any of those documents aren't on hand, applications don't happen. I have students right now that applied for credit transfer the first week of school in January who still have not received their documentation, and the entire semester is about to go by, and they've had to do the class while they've been waiting because they delayed in getting their documentation. So if you are serious about credit transfer, those documents are the key.
So what I'm hearing is be proactive. Do it before you think you need it, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Don't wait.
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
We try our best to be quick, and we, as all the processes here, Canadore always wants to support you as a student the best we can, but we can only do so much as well. And sometimes processes are dependent on documents, and they can take time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was very informative. Definitely appreciate it.